The Senate Armed Services Committee is requesting an inspector general investigation into how President Trump's national security officials used the Signal app to discuss military strikes in Yemen. A reporter from The Atlantic mistakenly added to that Signal chat, published its contents. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is shown providing exact timings of warplane launches and when bombs would drop on Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen. A judge ordered the Trump administration to preserve those messages. Some Democrats have called for Hegseth to resign, including my next guest. So far, the president standing by his team. Congressman Mike Quigley represents Illinois' 5th District. He was one of the lawmakers questioning administration officials on Capitol Hill. I watched that hearing. I watched your questioning. You were being tough. But let me ask you about this. Republicans say, look, what happened was wrong, but nothing ever happened to Hillary and the emails. Nothing ever happened to President Biden and the departure from Afghanistan where people died. Here, nobody died. The event itself went successfully. So make some changes, but this is just political.
First of all, you have to acknowledge that we got lucky. Many of our service members could have died because forewarned is forearmed. We would have been telling the Houthis that we were coming. We'd have told them all the details of what took place. Then there's the damage for the future. We secure and we share intelligence, which keeps us safe. I don't know any of our allies that would trust us anymore. They saw this incompetence, they saw this recklessness. They're probably going to be less likely to share. It's going to be much harder to secure intel on the Houthis, and it's also going to be harder to get information generally just because of this incompetence.
Apparently, Signal has a feature where you can delete the conversation after 1 week or 4 weeks, and it was set to delete after 4 weeks. But aside from whatever reason they might have had for doing that, isn't there an issue legally and historically? Isn't that the kind of stuff we're supposed to be keeping on file?
Oh, absolutely. And I suspect that's the least of the concerns right now. An opaque administration should come as no shock to anyone in this, with the Trump administration taking place. But the fact that they would use a commercial app talking about an impending attack is beyond comprehension.
I know one of the players in that was in Russia at the time. There's issues whether some people were on their personal phones. You look at the world. What risk, if any, is there of foreign countries now trusting us with intelligence?
If this was isolated, it would be a problem. But it's much worse when you couple it with our isolationist features, right? The vice president criticizing NATO, the way we're treating Ukraine at this point in time, cutting off all our soft power with USAID, a whole string of issues in which the rest of the country says, the rest of the world says to us, you're tariffing your friends, you're doing all those other things. The basic tenet of foreign policy is, if you want to have a friend, you better be one. And I don't know that we're anybody's friend. If we are, we're a bad one who's reckless and incompetent with critical information.
As you know, between RFK's firings and others, about 20,000 employees being let go from the HHS world. On Friday, Utah announces they're taking fluoride out of the water, which RFK thinks is bad for us. What are we looking forward to in terms of health care risks?
The way I look at it this way is the broader international picture down to the national. The world is a very small place. COVID didn't start in the United States. The reason we funded USAID and CDC does such great research work and why that matters is what happens over there can bite us over here, and indeed it has and will. And when you cut all the funding mechanisms to do just that, you aren't just hurting people in North Africa. You're putting people at risk here. And the fact that we're doing the exact same thing in our own states right now, and you're starting to see the effects of that, should indicate that the alarm bell should be going off. We are all at greater risk.
Trump has said a million times, we're not touching Social Security. I know you know Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick on a podcast said, actually, if we just kept everybody's Social Security check for a month, his 94-year-old mother-in-law wouldn't have a problem, and she would just say, hey, I'll get it next month. And anybody that does complain about not getting the check, said Secretary Lutnick, they're a fraudster. Forget what he said. The question is, should we be getting ready for potential cuts to Social Security because we call it fraud?
They can't do what they're talking about with their larger proposals dealing with taxes and so forth unless they cut or hurt Medicaid and Social Security.
And
the numbers just don't add. And let's also remember they're dramatically cutting the Social Security workforce. So it's going to be harder to apply. It's going to be harder to move forward, get your questions answered, get your claims processed. So it's already being impacted. And the fact that they don't seem to recognize that there are people on Social Security living below the poverty line. There will be deaths. People will die. Many of them already have to decide between buying medicine and buying food.
Deportation issues, as you know, the courts have been brought into this big time, trying to get planes to turn around. We're not sure where people are ending up, and are they illegal when they get to other countries and all of that. The president's position, administration, seems to be, how dare you question a president who was elected by the people? These judges aren't elected. Who's right?
The president helps establish a program, and he pretty much destroyed this in his first term, that addresses the immigration process. People have a right to due process once they're in this country. The president doesn't agree with that. He seems to be targeting all 11 million undocumented people living in this country. And if that's the case, we are in serious trouble. Because as you know, we have press conferences all the time where we hear from all sectors of the economy how critical they are, not just to creating jobs and filling those jobs, but to the tax base and so forth.
You have people in El Salvador. I mean, you hear about somebody who's apparently just a makeup artist, somebody, legal people. How do you get to that? How do you find out? They're in El Salvador right now.
Look, this is a willy-nilly process. We're trying to provide service to our constituents, people who are in our district. What the administration is doing in such haste, without any sort of information, is creating real problems. I mean, we're seeing people being deported who are offering to donate kidneys, who are playing critical roles in our country.
As you know, on Friday, the government, Trump administration says, again, money's cut off for U.S. aid, Department of Ed funding, on and on and on. Can we agree we don't have a legislative branch today?
I think the big concern I have within the body I serve is that my friends on the Appropriations Committee have abdicated their authority, right? The Article 1 authority, the power of the purses with Congress. That's the thing that has discouraged me the most, that they have basically said our laws that have funded this government are optional. If that's the case, I don't know why they show up at work, right? Just give it to the president.
We know tariffs coming into play in a variety of ways over time. Last week, Canada's prime minister basically saying our friendship with America, it's over. What is your concern about our relationships with folks to the north? And given tariffs, by the way, car prices go up until they're built here completely. That takes years.
The world is a really small place now, but the United States, Canada, and even Mexico, those economic relationships are so intertwined. How many times does a car part go back and forth across our borders when we actually construct a car? It's going to make everything more expensive.
Are you concerned about the relationship with Canada? Is it reparable?
It's reparable at this point in time, but I think a lot of people in other countries look at us and say, first Trump term, a mistake. Second Trump term, maybe that's who you are.
But people still support Trump. His supporters stand behind him.
You know, I think, don't look at the polls, don't look at any other thing. Look at consumer confidence in the economy. That's where, if you're President Trump, you're concerned.
Congressman Mike Quigley, the 5th District. You got enough on your plate. Thank you for spending some of your Sunday morning with me.
Anytime.
I appreciate that. Still to come on WGN TV Political Report, we're headed north to Wisconsin.
I don't control what Elon Musk or anybody else does.
We are out there fighting for every vote.
The consequential Supreme Court race that's setting campaign finance records and how Governor Pritzker is getting involved. Don't go anywhere.